So good morning, Stephen.
Good morning, Lisa.
Carrie says that you're a real down-to-earth man.
Yeah,
and
for
that's
the most
very
part.
true,
Yeah.
for the most part,
Yeah,
generally.
Yeah.
All right, so you did a film about 7 years ago called
Yes.
Buck,
Yes.
right? And tell us what research you did for this movie.
Yeah, so thank you for having me. Thanks, TTT, Hi Trinidad and Tobago, and the world. For me, you know, it's any project you do, it's always rooted in some kind of history.
Yeah.
And when I was doing some research, I found out about Buck. I was in QREP, and some guys were from Guyana. They were lost. They had a backpack, and they were looking for a way home. And I remember just thinking, you know, about the Buck whole idea. And if they had a buck in their bag, you know,
Right.
that was my connection at the time.
Right.
I did it as a student. And doing research, I realized that there was some, you know, history behind it. And I actually went to the streets and I interviewed people in QREP. You know, I say, hi, can I ask you a question? And people claim to have interacted with the buck, seen the buck, described it. Some people wouldn't even mention the name when they talk to me. They didn't even want to get a credit, appear on camera, or be
Really?
associated in any way.
Why is that? Why?
Because of the belief that it is real and they've had encounters, and if they sort of dwell or interact in that space, that they too could be haunted by the supernatural.
Okay, so I'm trying to understand what this is all about. So is it that this person, creature, whatever it is an evil person, or what is this? What is the story behind the buck?
So there are a couple of stories. There's the Baku, which people, you know, tie it all the way back to Guyana, and there's a particular tribe that live a particular way, and they have characteristics that can be described as what people know as the buck in Trinidad and Tobago.
Right.
And you could go all the way back to Africa, and we could go all the way back to the character Gollum, like Smeagol, that is also described as a buck, you know. But here in Trinidad and Tobago, the story is, you know, some people who would have gone from nothing to wealth in a short space of time would have gone to Guyana, purchased or in some way get a buck, put it in, you know, the basement or in the attic, and feed it. And this wish-granting creature will give you wealth in return.
Okay.
And of course, well, with the story that we're following right now, this buck isn't giving you wealth, it's taking it.
Well, that is what was confusing me, because the story that you just described is what I'm accustomed hearing.
Right.
So I was a bit confused. And so you found, in your research, you found that both people were experiencing both things.
Yeah, they were experiencing both things, and that the descriptions vary. So, you know, some people said it had red eyes, or it had skin that was black but matted. And it's but the thing is, where are the pictures? There are only a few illustrations online, but there are no pictures. Nobody's really come forward until this time to actually document it and say, I have been affected by the buck publicly.
So based on your research and the work that you did with the film, do you think there's a bit of superstition in all of this, or perhaps someone might be playing a trick on somebody? You know, I understand the buck has a voice. You know, is it someone? It's so easy to take a phone. Exactly.
Oi.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
do you think it's a bit of that?
You know, you never know. Sometimes you have to wait until you experience something first and to say, oh gosh, I think it is true. I feel like it's wrapped up in mystery. I feel like for the first time we are really going into folklore and exploring our own rich history and culture.
Right.
And I want to think it's real. If people think it's real to somebody.
I'm going to leave that right there.
Have you interacted with a buck before? You ever met one?
No. What are you asking me?
I don't know.
I'm covered, as one of my actors told me once after we did a scene.
Right.
She said, I'm covered by the blood of Jesus,
Amen.
right? Ain't got time for that kind of stuff. But very seriously, though, you've done a film, right?
Yes.
And it's called Buck. And is it about this scenario?
So it was done 7 years ago. So it's not about this scenario, done way before that. And basically it chronicles a rural taxi driver who is trying to make ends meet, you know, working the road, as we say. And basically to expedite his tribulations, being caught in a world of death and deceit, he encounters this buck and, you know, sort of making this pact for help. But that later turns into a situation that brings death upon his family.
Right. So, oh, you just gave away the punchline, did you? Or there's more?
There's always
There's
more.
Always
there is
more.
always more.
Okay. And do you think that by watching this film tomorrow evening, people get a better understanding of what's happening now in Trinidad and Tobago?
Yeah, definitely. I think they'll get a version of it, and my perspective based on how my research, and just as a filmmaker, you get your little poetic license there.
Yeah.
But I think it will also be an opportunity for us to have a sort of communal sharing of our own. We feature our local actors, Earl Sita Hall, Earl Blood Roberts, Karina Solomon, and I could go on and on. It's a locally grown product. And I think there is such a buzz that's organic that just imagine, we're not Netflixing and chilling, we TTT and chilling.
TTT and chilling. As a matter of fact, before the film, we're going to have a roundtable discussion, have a bit of people coming in. You're going to be there. We're going to have persons from the religious community, people from intellectual community, academia, and so on, as well as man in the street. So we get a lot of views, and perhaps maybe your view. Perhaps you could Facebook us and tell us what you think, so that can be discussed before we actually premiere.
I like that,
Premiere. Is that, I just realized what's happening here. Is that the Caribbean television premiere?
That is the Caribbean first ever television premiere of Buck the Man Spirit.
Yes.
Directed by your boy.
Stephen Taylor.
Yes.
On TTT tomorrow, because we live local, right?
We do, and my Facebook and social media platforms have been inundated with requests. We have to show it, Twitter and all of that. So this is for you. Enjoy it, consume it, and which better place to consume it than, homegrown.
I like that. All right, we're going to take a few messages and come right back. Carrie, you loving that?
Yes, I am.
We come right back after this.